garden. Are you excited to be here?
Yeah.
You sound so excited.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's just dispel a couple of myths about what eating from God's garden is all about. This workshop is not about putting you on a diet. And it's not about making you feel guilty either. Aren't you glad?
Yes.
Yes. So when you think of wellness, what do you think of?
Being healthy.
Being healthy. What else do you think of?
Eating right.
Eating correctly? Eating right?
Yep.
What else do you think of?
Being happy.
Being happy. Very good. It encompasses everything, doesn't it? The whole person. So wellness is a choice of lifestyle marked by a balance of your mind, your body, and your spirit. So we are content in our relationships with God, with others, and with our physical health. Does that sound reasonable?
Okay. Yes.
So this workshop is about living strong, loving well, and pleasing God. So in order to live and love well to please God, He gave us who? His Son, to redeem and restore us to the Father by taking the penalty for our sins. He gave us also the indwelling of the Holy Spirit too, didn't He?
Mm-hmm.
Our counselor, our teacher, our helper. And He also gave us what you guys just spent the last 15 minutes taking is your strengths, your gifts, your talents, and your ability. And those are things that God has given you that are just ingrained in you. Those are the things that just come naturally to you. So did you agree with your strengths survey? Would you say that you would have given yourself those top 4, top 5? Yes? Pretty close?
Yeah.
Some of them, one, self-control was somebody's first one. Honesty was another one. Hope was a love, social intelligence. Ooh, that's a big one. Kindness. So there's a lot of that, your strengths are a big deal in doing that, living a wellness and living a life for God, isn't it? So if you will, there's Bibles on your table, or if you'd rather use your phone, you can use your phone. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 1, and we're just going to skim through a couple of things in Genesis chapter 1.
I can get you one. Yeah, one.
Is everybody there?
Shouldn't take very long to get there.
So we see on day 1 the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the water. Because in the beginning, God had created the heavens and the earth, didn't He?
Mm-hmm.
And we also see that God said, "Let there be light," and it was so. And God separated the light from the darkness, didn't He? Yes. Day 2, He separates the expanse, the heaven from the earth, puts that space between them. And on day 3, chapter 1, verses 11 and 12, we'll read that. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 3rd day. What do you think about that? On that 3rd day of creation, every seed-bearing plant was put into place and is still bearing seed all these years later. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? It's amazing to me. It just blows my mind how well thought out God was that 3rd day. Now, Adam hasn't even been created yet, has he?
Nope.
But God's prepared everything for creation. So before He even did that, He creates everything in the garden to nourish and sustain and even heal the man. So just within the last 100 years, scientists have discovered vitamins. In the 1920s, they discovered vitamins. They're discovering more and more antioxidants every day. They started out with a few thousand, and now there's just like tens of thousands. And the minerals are there too, right? Substances that promote cellular function and repair are phytochemicals. So that's another thing that God put in the garden. So the plants, minerals are the base of the earth, right? Your magnesium, your manganese, your selenium, your zinc, your copper, your chromium. All these things in trace amounts is what our bodies need to sustain our energy and function. And they're in the dirt, right? So the dirt, the plants draw those nutrients from the soil. Man and woman eats the plants and gets those minerals and electrolytes, vitamins and phytochemicals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it controls all the electrical activity activity of your brain, the electrical activity of your heart. So that's how important magnesium and potassium and calcium are. I remember when I was recovered open heart patients and they would come out, we would draw their labs right away and we'd look at their blood levels. And if they needed a little calcium, or if they needed magnesium, or if they needed potassium, we had to replace that right away because that electrical conduction of that heart was that important. Like it needed it right away. So then what happens? Man returns to dust, and then the minerals go right back in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a cycle, isn't it? So we have four basic. So there's a recommended daily intake, and then there's an optimum daily intake. The recommended daily intake is set by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So what they've done is, over the years, they've looked at what prevents scurvy, what prevents rickets, what prevents these horrible diseases that you used to see way back in the early 1900s, because people were in the Depression and they didn't have enough vegetables, they didn't have enough citrus. You know, they were suffering from all these problems. So they figured out the minimum amount that you need to prevent those diseases. And so that's how they came up with that table. But there's an optimum daily intake. So if we're not getting our 3 to 4 servings of vegetables a day, are we getting our optimum intake? No?
Probably not.
You remember the survey we did? I did a health survey prior to the workshop, and several people filled them out in the community of Aberdeen. It was lovely. The lovely people of Aberdeen. I had 24 participants. And out of 24 participants, 90% of them said they value God first in their life. 87% value their family. Okay? And then 75% value their friends and children. Okay? So if we look at that, and what they value God, they value their health. So out of 24 participants, 78% rated their health an 8 or higher. 50% a 10 or higher. So 8 or higher. That means on a scale of 1 to 10, 8 is that it's very, very important to them. 1 is not, I don't care about it. Mm-hmm. 10 is, it's very important to me. Okay? But out of those 24 participants, 10 eat their fruits and vegetables every day. Do you see a little disconnect in the value system? Do you see the disconnect? So, you know, my question is, how do we connect our values with our behavior? Do you see what I mean? In order to do what? To function better, to live the healthy life, to run around with our kids, to be with our friends, to worship God, to do the things that God's called us to do, right? So, Romans 1:19. If you'll turn to Romans 1, take a look at that scripture. It should be on your packet too. Did you get a packet? Yeah. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
What can be known about God is plain, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that were made. Do you see that now in the things that he made in the garden for us? They had to have a microscope to get to it, but eventually, as time passed, they found it, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think we're more like Eve if God calls it good and we choose something that's probably not so good? Are we similar? Yeah, a little bit. The good news is we can have both. That's good news, right? Because what God made is good. So Claude Bernard, he's the father of physiology. He says that diseases are scattered like all around us, like seed scattered on the wind. But they do not settle in the terrain unless the terrain is ready to receive them. So it's not about the germ, it's about the person, right? Because God gave us everything we need to build our immune system. He gave us the sunshine, first of all. He gave us all these vegetables in the garden to give us vitamin C. He gave us good gut bacteria so that we can restore our gut health. He gave us a good night's sleep so that we could rest and restore our bodies so that we can fight infections. So he's done his job, hasn't he? So maybe sometimes we just need a renewing of our mind. If you look at Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good and pleasing and perfect will." What is the pattern of this world? $1.32 Coca-Cola? McDonald's? Huh?
Potato chips.
Potato chips?
That's me.
The
Potato
Biggie
chips.
size, right? Biggie better. Biggie is better. I don't know how many teenagers I see coming from Speedway. They got 2 in each arm. They're just loaded down with all this Coca-Cola or whatever soft drink is in that great big 32-ounce cup. Quart of pop. And they're getting out of school, you know they're thirsty. It just makes me sad because if you think about it, 1 can of cola will decrease your white blood cell's ability to fight infection by 40%. And they're coming out of there with these 32-ounce cups. And it's no wonder we're all sick.
I was looking at something online about Mexico. They're hooked on Coke now, Coca-Cola, and so the diabetes is way out of control.
I'm glad you said that because this guy, his name is Robert Lustig. He's a neuroendocrinologist for children in San Diego. And he wrote this book, Metabolical. And it's the lure and lies of processed food, nutrition, and modern medicine. So he went to Mexico and he wanted to talk to them about that problem down there. And you know what they told him? He's in a room with all the high-ups. Probably shouldn't record this part. They said, we don't care about how many people die. We care about the money, the bottom dollar. I guess if it's in this book, it's okay to say it, right?
Sure.
But it's the same with the American system, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you really wanted to do something about it, you would take off the EBT cards and you would implement plans around that. Okay? There's too many people making too much money off of people being sick. Right?
Right.
But where's our accountability in it? We can't blame our government for that. We have to be
Right.
accountable for our own health. So,
Works the same way with the cell phone too, for your other health.
It's true.
Since it's a three-pronged health system, be well, it works the same way with the cell phone. They don't care how bad it hurts people, as long as they make the money. That's why
Yeah.
they don't let their kids use it.
yeah. So what I like to do is I like to use peer-reviewed data to give you information that's up to date. I like to go over benefits of fruits and vegetables in the garden so that you know that you're packing your body with the power that it needs to fight infection and to fight chronic disease. That's the whole benefit of it. And it tastes good, and I'm going to show you that. I hope you like it anyway. So, the detrimental effects of processed food. That's the problem I don't think people are understanding clearly. So if we look at chronic disease, we think of cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, heart attacks, arthritis, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, diabetes. You've seen them all, right? Autoimmune disorders, Hashimoto's, lupus, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, and type 1 diabetes. Chronic diseases, all underlying inflammation. How do foods contribute to disease? So if you think about it, your cells are damaged by substances in processed food. It's what Dr. Lustig calls frankenfood. Okay? They've taken out all the nutrients and they've put in a lot of additives. So it's additives and sugar and preservatives and hydrogenated oils and trans fats and highly processed soy and soybean oil and dyes and colorings and flavorings. Everything to make it look appealing, taste good, and stay on the shelf longer. For a shelf life, not your life. Right? Okay. Environmental factors contributing to chronic disease also include pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers in the soil and on our food, sprays we inhale or come in contact with on our skin, pollution, and chemicals. So what are some other factors? Stress, alcohol consumption, smoking, sedentary lifestyle.
Sorry, coming in late. I thought it was tomorrow.
I just got your message.
So what are
Everything
some
was hot,
stumbling
it was
blocks
sitting on the
for you
couch.
in regard to eating more fruits and vegetables? Anybody?
So I thought it's probably
They
named
don't taste as good. They taste as good as stuff.
Yeah, that 4 blocks you had up there, kind of like carbohydrates and stuff. The one that said fat, that's the one I'm really on top of.
Well, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, easier.
It's a lot easier to eat a bag of potato chips and
Yeah.
it's,
Is it easier than an apple?
Yeah.
Or
I
Gary.
love my apples. I eat
Well,
them
is
every
it?
day. Yeah.
well, here's the thing, it's
That's my night
easier
snack.
and cheaper.
I love them.
I eat them
every day.
I'm just saying that's one reason. Yeah. It's cheaper to eat. You can go get you a hamburger at McDonald's for $1.
Is it cheaper in the long run?
Well, no, it's not.
Is it about
I
the
mean,
same?
with your health, no, it's not.
Is it worth it? You gotta look at the benefits and the cost, right?
Yeah.
So what is the cost of that over the apple in the long, big picture? Let's look at the big picture, not the money picture, but the big picture.
Yeah. We tend not to look at the big picture.
Yeah, we look at the convenient picture is what we
Yeah.
look at.
Well,
What's most convenient, because
this
we don't
is-
have time to do this and that.
You don't have
Yeah.
time.
Who knows how good vegetables are for you, whatever, they don't care. It's what it tastes, what tastes good. That's what you eat the most of, right? Yeah, here tonight, what you're talking about, what's good for you, it sounds great.
We're gonna put it into practice in a few minutes. In just a few minutes, we're gonna put it into practice. So here are some obstacles: addiction to sugar, caffeine, no no desire to try new things, I'm gonna give Bob a check mark. Bob, you got one check mark.
You gotta try.
Remember, one was just to warn him, two, you write sentences, I will behave in Misty's class, and three is when the paddle comes out.
Well, I've already seen you do that twice, so you really have two.
What's he doing back there?
Okay, number 3, I hate vegetables. Time. That was a biggie on our survey that we did. So many people
I
don't
love
have
vegetables.
time to fix these vegetables.
Oh, no.
I live alone.
I like
That's the one we
vegetables.
hear a lot. I live alone. I don't want to cook for one person, or I don't want to
That's
cook
me.
for 2 people. Usually 2 people you can get away with cooking for, but one person doesn't want to cook, right? So I've got some ideas for you ladies. And the cost, as Joe brought up very
Uh-huh.
subtly and very nicely, cost. So if we remove the stumbling blocks and we think more about feeling better, right? Less aches and pains, fighting infection better, having more energy, seeing better control of our weight, breathing better, and sleeping better. Yeah? Think more about those things, the benefits, right? I'm going to skip the food labels. You guys know how to read a food label. But I just want you to look at this. This is a Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Probably, how many ingredients do you, I would say
Oh,
probably
look how many's in there.
at least
Always look
30.
at the sugar
So
gram.
if you were going
Yeah,
to make
I
your
think it's
own
your sugar.
oatmeal cream pie, oats, sugar, butter, cream, right?
Look at yeah.
Cinnamon.
Look how many's up there.
Yeah, it's bacon.
There's nothing good in there, trust me. There's 10 kinds of sugar in there that are going to increase cancer, increase infection, and increase a bunch of stuff you don't need. And then the bread, this is, the first one is bread. So if you look at that, this is a whole wheat package of bread. It's got this chemical that's called azodicarbamide. It's a skin irritant. It's in the toxic metals list, but it's in your bread. But little amounts won't hurt you. There, it's okay. We'll throw it in there
Why would they put something like that in bread?
to preserve it on the shelf. You can
Oh.
keep a loaf of bread for a month and it won't go bad. But think about it.
Wow.
Faster than that,
I know, me too.
So
Wow.
I don't eat
the
much
first
bread.
ingredient, as you probably know, is what's the most. Oh, Bob, there he is, girl. Where's the paddle?
Not me.
Make him sit at the front
Bob, come over
table.
here by that.
Yeah, of course.
He has to sit by the teacher. Make him sit up there.
Buckwheat, yeast, sugar, wheat gluten, wheat bran. You can see it. It's got a lot in it. So processed food's killing us, people. That's all you need to know. Now, this is not bad. This is late July corn chips. So if you want your chips, you can eat them too, right? So if you think about this one's not bad at all. It's got 65 milligrams of sodium, and which is almost half the amount of the Tostitos. Okay? And then it's got double the fiber because there's quinoa in it. Okay? So if you think about looking at this, how many of us sit down with the bag and eat the half a bag? Half a bag, not the whole bag.
Don't look at me.
Rita, I'm so sorry.
I sat down with the back, but I have gotten.
I sat down at the back and I don't eat very many.
That's a
put
great
mine in a little
idea.
mold.
So
If I
a
had a
serving
bag, I'd
size,
eat the
can you
whole
see
bag.
the serving size up here is 10 chips.
No,
A serving size is 10 chips. So in 10
Well,
chips,
just.
you're
Yeah.
getting 65 milligrams of sodium and 16 grams of total carbohydrate. you're getting 2 grams of fiber, okay? So, if I sit down and I eat half the bag and I eat 5.5 servings, I've taken in a whopping 980 calories, 425 milligrams of sodium, 104 carbohydrates, and 45 grams of fat. All in my little snack.
Just upset my apple cart.
Just an eye-opener. That's what we do. So if we're eating from God's garden, we can lose weight, we can eat less sugar and processed foods, we can decrease total caloric intake because you have fewer calories in fruits and vegetables, plus you have more fiber, everything moves through okay, lowers cholesterol, does all kinds of good stuff. Cleans out your guts like little scrubbers. All that fiber is like little scrubbers in your colon, sweeping out the cholesterol. So, eating from God's garden can improve your health, your immune system, your energy levels, and your activity. All good things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is roughly an amount. Everybody's amount's different. So if we think about our mindset, it's a formula that is subjective. So what we want to do with this is the best goals are personal. They reflect what we really want and need, and not what others want for us. So that's something to think about. Just one thing that you might be able to think more about as the weeks come along. It has to be urgent. So the better goals inspire immediate action. What are benefits of acting now? What's the benefit if I do this one thing right now? What's the immediate benefit? And commitment. Choosing a goal that you feel strongly enough about to persist until you achieve it. It can be a little challenging, but you know you want to do it. It has to be concrete and specific, so it's clear. It's something I can do. So did you see the examples? We have a couple of examples. Then we can evaluate it. I'm going to stumble, right? I might set a goal not to eat sugar tomorrow, and then I might get up and David went and got donuts. And there they are. He wouldn't do that, by the way, but it could. It could happen.
You're really thinking about it.
And there's some couples here, there's some friends here. We can share. We can share our goal with somebody and say, hey, I wrote this goal down. So we gonna hold me to it, or I'm gonna share it with you so that maybe we'll help each other here. Support, right?
We don't care none of us what you're talking about. Support, right?
Yeah, support.
So here's an example. I save sugary treats for 1 day a week starting today because I want to have less inflammation. Is that a good goal? It's clear, it's concrete, it's not, you can never have sugar again.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I get to wait. Sunday I get my treat, or whatever day it is, right? Okay, I will eat more vegetables each day because I want to feel better, have more energy, fight disease, and chase little kids around the playground. I do. Yep. What'd you say, Bobby?
I have that for 5 days.
All right, thank you, and don't forget to do your evaluation on the back page. And that is on page 7, so you're just going to mark that while the ladies and I get some snacks for you, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, good job.
Now, you're going to enjoy this part.
What's the date? The 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd. Yeah.
I haven't-